John from Cincinnati.
I feel like somebody from there, like a rapper from Cincinnati, has to call it Cincinnati, right? Somebody has to.
I think it's like a common one, but it's like one of those things, like, if you're from Cincinnati, you would never call it Cincinnati. You know, like how, like, people from L.A., you know, they'll say Los Angeles because they don't want to be sounding like L.A.
Yeah.
I'm from L.A. I'm from Cincinnati. So I think it's one of those things. Although they put chili on top of spaghetti.
It's very good.
Yeah, I bet it's good. I mean, it's meat. It's basically a ragu.
I mean, it's like, also their chili's weird because it's like a high cinnamon content to their chili. It's real fucking good.
Interesting.
It's good. It's like a Greek kind of Mediterranean kind of a thing going on.
Cinnamon.
But also they just like they put so much fucking cheese. It is an insane dish. Like, I got it when I was there doing comedy or whatever, and I got it like delivered because I was just like stuck in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And so since I got it delivered, it came with like the pasta, then a little tub with the chili, and just a plastic baggie filled with shredded cheddar cheese. It was so much fucking cheese.
Dang.
Yeah, it was pretty tight.
Yeah, it's like there's no way this could be bad.
So this is we might as well just start there. This is welcome to Canceled. This is now a Cincinnati-based podcast where we just talk about Cincinnati things. We are at episode 7 and 8.
Yes, correct.
Of John from Cincinnati.
Respectively, day 5 and 6.
This is Brett VerVoort. You just heard. Brett, how's it going?
It's going great, Chris. How are you?
I am mildly hungover and a little sleepy.
Well, yeah, can't have one without the other.
Kind of how I watched these episodes anyway, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I was coming down myself.
What did you think? So episode 7 was the first time I think I was like truly bored by an episode.
It was very slow. Almost, because in the previous 2 episodes that we watched, you know, there was like some stuff happening in episode 5 because you knew it was really going to ramp up for episode 6.
Yeah.
But it feels like this was less so the case this time.
Yeah, it didn't really ramp to anyone.
No, it was just like checking in with everybody.
There was a lot of checking in, and then also like kind of not. I also don't know why I don't have any of my notes loading in Evernote. Maybe it's on my phone. Yeah, it didn't go anywhere. And, like, it was decidedly Johnless.
Yes, because John, at the beginning of the episode, he is in the hotel room with Kaz and she's asleep. And he's like, I'm going to meet my dad today, his father.
Yeah, I'm going to spend the day with my father or whatever.
He's got to talk to me about big and huge stuff.
Yeah, more big and huge. Without the zeros and ones, big and huge won't mean dick, he says at one point.
Yeah. So he's gone talking to his dad for the majority of this episode, if not all of it.
Right. We get, God damn. Also, the other thing that I'm finding annoying is like, last week I called, the fucking weirdo website guy is going to be more back into it.
And he is.
He absolutely is, and I don't want him to be. Like, there's already too many goddamn characters. I don't need another one who really feels like he doesn't serve any purpose other than to be like a weird conduit for the video that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and they like make fun of his cleft palate.
They keep calling him hair lip multiple times, and they don't even say like, oh, he has a hair lip, or like, oh, go get hair lip out of here or whatever. Yeah. They say a hair lip a lot when they refer to him. Like, I ran into a hair lip outside. Yeah. It's so weird. Now, granted, that man knows he has a hair lip or a cleft palate or whatever the correct term is. I don't know. But like, so, and he's an actor. He knows, like, you know, choices are being made. But like, it's just such a weird, like, I don't know. A hair lip feels very degrading. Yeah, you're being even more objectified because you're not only the singular hair lip, you're one of presumably an innumerable amount in Imperial Beach. Also, I would say that, so he's back. We get Luke Perry, and that's Zach from Saved by the Bell, right? Yes. Is that Mark Paul Gosselaar? Right? Gosselaar. Whatever the fuck his name is. Mark Paul Gosselaar. Weird get to like, because like, I would say on par of a name with a lot of the like mains in the show. I don't think we're going to see him again. It's an odd get for him to show up for like half an episode.
And I feel bad for him also, just as the actor, because it is such a lackluster episode. And you're like, wait, is that Mark Paul Gosselaar? And it's just like a role anybody could have played.
Absolutely. But is he supposed to be Luke Perry's?
I think he's taking over Luke Perry's business. He's buying him out. So he's like currently the acting vice president, but looking to take over. So
There also felt like there was some sort of like other relation, like familial or friend, like he knew him from like too long or something. I don't know. It felt weird. But more to the point, why is Luke Perry such a dickhead to that IT guy?
Yeah.
They're having some sort of like business meeting at a hotel. It's like a conference or something. It's hard to tell because they
It's a hotel because there was continental provided.
There was some sort of breakfast provided, and he says like if you see any of the other, he says to like some guys like setting up the food, if you see any of the other conference goers, go ahead and give them some food or whatever. But like they clearly didn't have the budget to shoot extras, so it's just like 5 people in a hotel banquet hall, like having like a pre-conference meeting or something.
And he's like, any of y'all ever been to Imperial Beach before? And none of them raised their hand. And then I was like, what do y'all do if you're not here at this presumable beach town where all these up-and-coming surfers are?
Also, I would like to know how much money can there possibly be in surfing? Because this company appears to be worth way more money than I would have thought. Than a company
like
called
a .com
Stinkweed
buyout.
should have been. Yeah. We eventually, we'll get through it, but he eventually is paid off $60 million to like leave his company.
Yeah, and he gave $1 million away just to hold Sean's mom's hand.
Mark Paul Gosselaar or whatever was going to pay, Luke Perry was going to pay Sean's mom $4,000 a month. And she's just for what? Like, I don't even understand.
I don't even understand that business deal. Basically, the idea is that he's trying to get Sean's mom involved or like give consent for her son to be promoted through Stinkweed. Right. But she doesn't even have that.
She doesn't have custody over him. And also, Sissy does. Sissy gives the whatever. So what if it's even I don't even understand what's happening.
Well, I think because like she just abandoned Sean on the doorstep. It's not like officially she doesn't have it.
I'm
so
sure
legal
argument.
That would be the argument. So it's like if she wants to make that argument and draw Shawnee through that for $4,000 a month.
I guess.
I mean, it's easy money.
Also, but like Luke Perry is such a lunatic in that scene.
Oh yeah, because he's ragging on the IT guy for doing nothing but reporting.
For saying like he's like, sales are flat, but that is on trend and what was predicted for this quarter. Yeah. And he fucking loses his mind. At one point, pulls his ass out next to the guy's face. And he's like, why don't you try some of this or whatever? It's like, you should actually just be fired. Like, this is not acceptable behavior from a boss.
Yeah, and then the guy's like, oh, we're doing really like well in Brazil right now. They're getting hard over these items. And then he points to the one Brazilian girl, presumably. He's like, is your dick hard?
Yeah.
And she goes, let me check. Her one line.
Yeah. That poor actress who had to like, Mom, I'm going to be in an episode. It's on HBO. No, it's great. It's great. It's
you know what?
Only moment.
Don't tune in.
Yeah. Just trust me. It was really good.
So
all this is happening. Meanwhile, Palaka is his name. He's the dumb friend of the Hawaiian criminal.
Sweet Palaka.
Sweet Palaka shows up. And I thought he was like going through detox or something at first. He's like shaky and weird. And he tried to get a matching tattoo of his boss, the little lizard salamander tattoo. And it got infected and he's dying.
But it also just happened. So like,
within like a day.
Earlier in that day, and he's already just speaking in tongues.
Yeah. To the point where they have to like get him an IV and put him in a fucking like ice tub bath.
Yeah.
They get that IV from CVS, by the way. He says, like, there's a pharmacy around the corner, and the doctor's, like, going to write a prescription. I guess he still has a prescription pad.
Well, I guess he just quit at the hospital, but he didn't lose his license.
He's not, like, disbarred or whatever. But, like, I don't know CVS to have IVs you can just have. Yeah.
I don't think so. That doesn't fly.
It didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then they're just really reticent to turn him into the hospital for whatever reason. I don't.
Just the doctor, and the doctor. This is why that doctor's a little bit of an asshole too. He's like having a little like kind of talking to himself moment where he's talking to. Essentially, he's talking to Palaka in the bathtub, but really he's just like talking to himself.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Should I bring you to the hospital? Am I avoiding bringing you to the hospital just because I'm embarrassed about going back to the hospital?" Yeah, clearly. Why wouldn't you bring this man to the hospital? You already took him to the hospital. You got his fucking arm cast or whatever.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Back to a hair lip.
Okay. Yeah, because there's a lot of back and forth in this episode.
Yeah, Dwayne tracks down Butchie and was basically saying, you've been getting a lot of hits on the website. And
1,200, by the way, the lot of hits is 1,244 hits.
Yes.
That's not that much.
It's not that much, but he takes this as divine providence and decides that he needs to make a separate website just for Shawnee, because Shawnee's going to blow up, and so he's thinking
he needs to be ready because if he doesn't have his own website, then once he signs, like whoever signs him will get the rights to like Sean Yost or whatever, and fuck him in the ass or whatever he says.
He's like, sound familiar, Butchie?
Yeah,
what happened to you?
Yeah.
It's like, who is this guy?
Yeah, this guy's like, I guess he's been running his website since forever. He's like, I got you. I think it comes up in the next, or maybe actually it's in this episode.
But he's running it out of a cafe.
He doesn't. Yeah, I don't think he has his own computer. Well, he has a laptop by the end, which is also weird. Why does he keep going to that weird, like renting a computer at that laptop?
I think he likes when the waitress
Just
wet willies him.
Yeah, probably right.
Puts her shirt over his head so he can just feel her breasts at the back of his neck.
Right.
We've all been there.
Also, Stephen Tobolowsky shows back up with the papers for Sissy to sign. Basically, like, trying to, like, nullify any action against the hotel while also being like, by the way, though, the doctor, he's not one of us, so you can sue him all you want.
Yeah, and he does this. It's one of those, like, weird timing things where he showed up at the surf shop at the same time Palaka is having, like, this fit on the floor.
Yeah.
Does not address Palaka's situation.
Steps over him to hand Sissy that paperwork.
Which is true lawyer.
Yeah, for
lawyer. Sure. You decide this for him over this convulsing man's body, not reading into this at all.
He's also a complete dickhead to Willie Garson for no reason at all. He keeps calling him, like, little, and he calls him ugly at one point to Sissy, and Sissy's like, hey, look at your fucking self in the mirror or whatever. Yeah. Like, she says some line like, you know, glass houses or whatever. Because, like, I like Stephen Tobolowsky, but it's a weird choice to make him that guy. Where, like, it's not like he's, like, the handsome killer fucking lawyer guy. He's just a schlubby dude as well.
Yeah.
He's, like, slightly taller than Willie Garson. That's the only difference.
Well, you know, sometimes that's the only thing you need to lord it over someone else. Is just that one thing.
To actually be, like, taller than him.
Yeah, and just like, this is my thing. This is my whole personality now. And so Dwayne, when the website guy gets Butchie, they go and track down Sean. They go to the surf stop, which is closed because Sissy had to take Palaka back to the hotel.
Again, not to the hospital, just back to the hotel.
And so Sean's just waiting outside the surf shop, smoking a joint, when Butchie and Dwayne walk up on him.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to talk about this website right now, Dad.
I didn't understand that conversation, because, like, it's played in that, like, he's mad at Butchie about something, but I don't know what.
I think... I don't know if it's necessarily that he's mad at Butchie, but, like, it sounded like maybe Sissy said that Butchie wouldn't let him sign, and
Butchie didn't fucking say anything.
Yeah, and Butchie's like, I haven't talked to him at all. I haven't seen him in like weeks, it's not up to me. It's up to Sissy. So he's like, oh, well, then everybody's just lying to me. You know that, like, little kid thing where you think all your parents are just lying to you and stuff like that? So it's like, can't trust his mom because his mom's like, here 1 minute, gone the next. Butchie is not stable. And then Sissy, you know, going through her own stuff. So where does he run? He runs into the welcoming arms of Bill.
Yeah, he runs to see Bill, and Bill says something like, "You smell." This made me laugh. He says, like, "You smell like weed or whatever."
Yes.
And Sean's like, "Yeah, I smoked a joint today." And his line is, "And you tell me that without shyness or remorse?" Like, he's like, Bill is written so Deadwoody, like so much more so than other characters. So when he says something in response to a person who's just talking normal, he sounds completely insane.
But then he got high in the last episode in the car.
Absolutely.
But I guess he doesn't want to smoke in the house out of respect for the ghost of his wife.
His dead wife, sure. He also is starting to read to Sean from a book
about
people grieving. Loss. Yeah, about grieving people and how what to do if how to grieve the loss of a loved one, essentially. Yeah. And he's like, this doesn't really apply to you. But then why are you? I don't understand. He doesn't.
He sees that Sean is sad, and he's trying to reach out, and he's like, well, I'm sad, and what I do is I read these books, and sometimes you just need a little advice or help, and that's why I read them. And then Sean has a very big revelation because he's looking over at Zippy, and he's like, I wish Zippy didn't kiss me.
Ooh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah. No, he goes over to the bird, and he's like, I wish Zippy didn't kiss me.
Oh, well, that's a huge thing, particularly with the revelation that Sean will be gone soon.
Yes, John keeps repeating that when he comes back briefly.
Towards the end. He also, by the way, I want to say this about Cass. You have 1 day's worth of footage. You've been staring at that computer for nonstop. What are you going to make? What is going to be the project that is the result of you walking through Venice Beach for a day?
I just see this scene of her where she's watching the screen and you just see someone on bongo drums and she looks like she's had this huge revelation.
Yeah.
She's just
hands back to her.
Whoa, wait, there's something in the drums.
Yeah.
The call is coming from inside the drums.
She
freaks out.
So there's another thing that's happening in this episode, which is that Mark Paul Gosselaar is trying to get Sean's mom to lie about
Luke Perry's
character, but I'm not exactly sure what the lie is supposed to be.
Maybe trying to embellish what Luke Perry did to kind of discredit him, be like, oh, look, he's paying for sex with this adult film star. Maybe he's using company money. I'm just sure basically trying to blackmail him.
For sure. But what he doesn't know is that she is also, so Mark Paul Gosselaar was having her saying all these things into a tape recorder. Mm-hmm. And at one point he says something like, she's like, do you want me to fib for you? And he's like, do you want me to write you another check? And, but she's been recording this conversation the whole time as well and gives it to Luke Perry. So when Mark Paul Gosselaar goes to Luke Perry and he's like, also take $35 million and leave the company or this tape goes public. It's like, just offer him $35 million. Why do you even need the blackmail part? It seems like you're willing to pay.
Yeah.
Luke Perry's got his own tape, and he's like, okay, well, how about $60 million, and I'll leave. And he's like, okay. And without hesitation. There's no that's going to break the bank or whatever. There's not a moment of hesitation.
Yeah.
So it felt like this all could have just been worked out over a board meeting as opposed to bringing in Sean's mom.
Well, it's also interesting, what then if Luke Perry had this whole internal struggle with the company, was he trying to get Shawnee to save the company? Or if he was going to get rid of the company anyway, then where does Sean fit in the scheme of things moving forward?
For sure. Now, doesn't he sign Sean in this episode? Or is it the next episode?
I think it's in the next episode because I think they were just looking at paperwork, but that had more to do with the hospital than the contract.
Right. And we get a little bit. John comes back at the very end. That's when we get that thing about she sees something on the tape or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we don't see what that is at that point, I don't think.
Yeah, very sweet moments between Palaka and Hawaii.
Yeah, I like that. Hawaii's when he is carrying Palaka out of the hotel, insisting on bringing him to the hospital. It's sweet. Hawaii really at his heart, while he is this aggressive, violent guy, inside he's just this big softy who wants who's got this friend he wants to take care of. It's nice.
It was a sweet moment. Oh, and then there was also something that happened towards the end of episode 7 where they finished laying this cement in front of Butchie's place.
Right.
And the lawyer character, who is played by Sanford.
Mm-hmm. Willie Garson.
He writes something and then he draws a little stick figure without arms.
Yes. Which a little circle line and then 2 legs. And Luis Guzman says, what's that? And he's like, oh, I don't know. But that image is going to come back.
Yeah.
Also, do they find that bar in this episode?
The bar? No, they find that in the
beginning of the next episode?
Next episode.
All right, I guess that makes sense. That seems weird. Anyway, we'll get there. But yeah, so they're laying the cement, which will eventually be the whatchamacallit, shuffleboard court, but we'll get to that in the next episode. So yeah, that was kind of this episode. Not a whole lot happened. Oh, Butchie buys heroin but doesn't use it.
Yeah.
That's kind of an important thing.
Kai brought out his surfboards again because he's surfing again, which is good.
He's surfing, which also I wrote down at one point, like, I know this show centers around surfing, but I could use less surfing. Like, I don't need this much. The scenes are very long. Like,
swim.
Yeah.
We said, like, when we started watching this, like, we can't judge
I don't
good
know if
surfing.
he's any good at this. And then he's surfing next to somebody else who's just like some meathead surfer guy in the beginning of the next episode, doing exactly as well as Butchie's doing. He didn't look like he's much better than
and he's
anybody.
Like, how am I doing? And the guy's like, you know. And I was like,
well,
we don't know.
So Butchie cops, the reason she got his she had put them in storage and hid them from him
so he wouldn't sell
before he had a chance to sell them. And now that he's not a junkie, she gets him back out of storage. Episode 8, on the other hand, I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I thought episode 8 was really good. Again, I didn't like all the surfing, but like there is a lot of John, a lot of weirdness. It's another one of those like frantic, everybody's got a weird part of this mashing together at the motel kind of a story. They find is that bar supposed to be at the motel? Because where the fuck is it? At one point, the gay dude who runs the hotel, and Luis Guzman, they like open up this old dusty, like clearly was a bar at some point. There's a jukebox, there's a pool table, there's a bar, but like it's in disuse or whatever. And they're like, oh, we got to reapply to get our liquor license and clean the place up. And I was like, where on the property is that bar?
I've never seen a motel with a full bar.
There's no space for, particularly not that kind of motel. Some little roadside bullshit motel doesn't have like, that's not a place that has a fucking bar in it, but.
Unless it's a brothel.
But here's the thing. They don't show you ever anyone like entering it. So physically, I don't know where it's supposed to be in the location of that hotel. They're just suddenly in the
That's
fucking
more of
bar.
that Twin Peaks stuff where you're just like in a red curtain room. You're like, where is this?
Very much so. We open Cass we open with some surfing. Who gives a shit? And then we get Cass and Honor talking, and John's like, it's going to be a 3-ring circus of a day. I'm going to be murdered twice. He says, I'm going to be murdered twice. I will stare me down. Sean will be gone soon. And this is where he kind of starts to repeat this Sean will be gone soon line.
Yeah.
And he tells Cass, we made a tape last night. We made a tape last night.
Meaning him and his dad.
Oh, I don't know. I think meaning him and her. Because she's the one with the camera. She's got the tape.
She seemed surprised later on, though.
Well, what he says, he says to her, like, we made a tape last night, and she says, why don't I remember that? And he says, we don't remember my father's words. So I think anything like related to like messages he's giving from his father, you don't remember those moments. So
gotcha.
And he even says, you'll find our tape in your room. I will see you at Barry's motel. We do not remember my father's word. Like he says that. So then, all right. There's so much going on in this episode. This is where I'm like, wait a minute, this is a motel of a fucking bar. I like very much Luis Guzman because he comes back to the bar. The gay guy's like, I've had a vision of what we're going to do to the bar. We're going to turn this space into a theater space and a beautiful space for the arts or whatever.
Oh,
but when he
lovely.
says he's had a vision, Luis Guzman's like when you got those lotto numbers, and he immediately is just like trying to get him to pick more lotto numbers. I think it makes sense to me. I don't know. It just made me laugh.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's in character, 100%. I wish we're like 8 episodes in, and I feel like Luis Guzman is so underutilized in this show.
I was like 100%.
I was like, you're putting Luis Guzman in a show, and maybe he has like 1 or 2 lines an episode, and they're always like just him raking or fixing things around the property.
No, for sure, I agree. Like he is always like. He's just kind of used for like comic relief a lot of the times, and like that's fine, but like he's way more capable of other things. Also, that bar, we get a real creepy scene with the gay dude who runs the who runs the bar. He also has a teddy bear that he's talking to or through at one point. At which point, then he's like, he starts hearing like Mr. Cunningham, whatever. He's like, oh, thank you for letting me run a tab, Mr. Cunningham. That's so decent of you, you fucking faggot. And he's just going, it's really fucking like Twin Peaks turn creepy moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's the guy who, this is more of his like ghost story of being molested at this hotel, which is, by the way, such a weird, like, it's not weird. There's no shame involved. Like, look, you got molested. That sucks for you, but it's a thing that happens. I'm not trying to like shame him or whatever. As a show, it is the one storyline that other than allow it being the reason why he owns this motel, it doesn't interact in any other way with anybody else. You know what I mean? It's just kind of this one individual story that they occasionally reference to give this guy something to do, but it doesn't seem like it factors in.
But I think that's like one of those threads that, you know, they're going to tie into future seasons, but that never happened.
Never got to
So they're like, oh, when you find out the real story, it's going to blow your mind.
I guess. I don't know. I think we know the real story. I think he got raped in that fucking hotel room. I don't think there's a lot, unless it turns out like it was. I don't know. I feel like we find out Sissy also did that one too.
Like, yeah, she just put on a mustache. Yeah. She's like, I'm on so much acid right now.
Yeah.
I have to
rape another kid.
Man, yeah. Repeat offender. Sissy goes into Mitch's clubhouse and destroys it.
Well, what's so funny is, at least funny to me, is like she's supposed to be like trashing the place, but she's just sort of like
stomping,
knocking stuff over a little bit. She like pulls down some wind chimes. At one point, she's just blowing cigarette smoke into some little like totem doll thing, and she's just like blowing smoke at it. Such an odd choice.
It's very odd, but it was a very Spartan place, so it's like, what can you take down?
There's not much to trash. Yeah.
And we haven't seen Mitch
in a couple of episodes. And that's kind of the ongoing story with her. Is she keeps calling wherever she thinks he is, some fucking resort in Mexico or whatever.
Enjoy your spiritual bliss waves, asshole.
But like, he is kind of an asshole.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, he's a huge asshole. But like,
we don't mourn the loss of Mitch.
No,
it's just something to note that like, will we ever get to the bottom of his levitation? Where is he going? Is he getting better at it while we're not seeing
right. He just comes back to town just floating like fucking Magneto in those X-Men movies.
Just walking on water. Comes all the way back. He's like, I've mastered it.
That would be really funny. So Hawaii has had a dream that something bad is going to happen to Sean. Or something bad is going to happen kind of just period. We don't know what.
Yeah.
And then Dwayne the Hairlip, has gotten some sort of message at his website.
Yes.
And they don't say what it is right away, but he's like, we got to show this to Sissy and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And he's received, it wasn't like emailed to him, but he received it in a way he shouldn't have been able to receive it. Like, no one should have been able to send, somebody hacked his firewall and placed the message on his computer or some such thing, right? Some sort of
saved a draft.
2007 internet nonsense, right?
Yeah.
What turns out to be is a video of John sitting in front of a black, like, kind of tarp with that symbol the guy drew in the cement on it, and he just says, Sean will be gone soon. And that's the extent of the video, which is a little creepy.
It's a little creepy. It's a little creepy to draw a stick figure without arms.
That's a little creepy. Any sort of symbol like that is a little creepy.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that everyone's reaction to it is weird. Because everyone's reaction is, what is this, Bin Laden? And I get that, like, it's not even that close to... You know what I'm saying? It's like 6 years later. I don't remember... Why is, like... the Bin Laden video such a zeitgeist
still public
moment.
enemy number one. Were we still looking for it?
I mean, sure we were, but like the video part so much, it's like
it's not.
It's such a weird thing for everybody's response to be that. Like,
yeah. Well, there seems to be an undercurrent of racism in this small Southern California town.
Sure.
Because then John says that phrase again where he's like, the towel heads.
Yeah, annihilate themselves or something.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't like this towel head talk.
I don't either. I really don't.
I don't enjoy it.
So now everybody's trying to so they get Butchie involved too. They're like, oh, we've got to figure out what's going on with this message. Meanwhile, Palaka has gone to Bill because Hawaii is like insinuated that we should get Bill involved in my vision that he had or whatever, something bad.
Yeah, he is ex-cop, so maybe he'll be useful.
Yeah. I do like when he goes to him, he's very offended because Palaka says there's some his birds have grease on their feathers, and he's like, "There's no grease on these birds." He's very upset about the insinuation.
I would never put grease on these birds.
There is also, there is some really solid Bill Hawaii interaction in this episode.
Yeah.
At one point, Bill says to him, "If I could speak monkey, I'd put it in your language." I'm like, "Yeah, Bill, fuck this guy."
Zing.
Yeah. But they're like, "What does this mean?" Right? We got to figure out what this message is, and also no one can find. This was also, I felt weird. No one can find Sean, apparently.
Yeah.
But no one seems to really be looking for Sean. What it turns out is Sean ran into his mom, and his mom's like, "Hey, do you want to go to SeaWorld?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So they go to SeaWorld.
Yeah.
But, like, you never see anybody, like, frantically making phone calls or, like, checking up on him, like, running around the town. The last time they had to find him, like...
Oh, they were freaking out.
They're splitting up and fucking cordoning off the town and whatnot, right?
Now that he's got like a weird video message, everyone's kind of chill about it. They're kind of lollygagging around. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that like Sissy's first reaction wasn't to be like, he's with his mom, that witch.
Yeah, that fucking hoa. No, her first reaction is to get mad at Kai for some reason.
Because she like feels like Kai's abandoning Sean, but it's also not Kai's responsibility to be looking after Sean all the time.
Kai is not that child's caregiver. Also, she's like continuing to do all the things she always did. She didn't happen to be at the store that one morning. We find out because she cut her foot and had to drive 2 hours or whatever to get it looked at and whatever. She didn't show up for work one day and suddenly I don't know, she's a piece of shit. But Kai is now pissed and she's going to quit the store, right? That's what we get out of that. Bill sits down to interrogate. Well, first off, Cass and John, was it this episode or the last episode where they went on their little weird adventure?
I think it's on 8.
It's 8. Because they go like somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that was. They drive to like a place. He walks across some water. He makes a face at another totem thing. He climbs something. She looks at him. It's all very enigmatic, but like, I don't know what I was supposed to get out of any of it. Like, I like this show very much, but there are moments where I feel like, oh, you're just fucking being weird.
Well,
you're just fucking being weird to be weird.
Yeah, it's like how much of it's like when you go to church, you're like, how much of this is scripture, and then how much of it is you wanted to wear a big gold hat? How much of it is just you wanted the ceremony?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Bill sits down to interrogate John in one of the hotel rooms, right?
Yes.
Which I actually really like. He's like, look, you managed to hack the Hair Lips computer or whatever, so you're not as dumb as you fucking are acting. So cut the bullshit. Enough of the parrot talk. He's like, where's Shawnee or whatever? And John, of course, responds in some John-ass bullshit way. Bill slaps the shit out of him, which I enjoyed.
That's been a long time coming.
Yeah, somebody needs to slap this fucking dude, and I'm glad somebody got around to it. Throughout this conversation, John eventually takes out a knife, and because like Bill's like, people say, Hawaii says you're a shapeshifter. Vietnam Joe says you were able to, you got stabbed and then you died and came back. Butchie says you got magic pants or whatever. Because that's the other thing.
Magic pants haven't come back.
He doesn't say magic. The magic pants haven't come back, but when they're having the first initial kind of, John's not there yet. They're all sitting in the hotel room like, what are we going to do with this video? Butchie's like, John's not going to hurt Sean. He's a weird guy, but also like, he can do strange fucking things, right, guys? Like, he has that moment, like, he can fucking create money out of his pockets whenever he wants or whatever. Like, yeah. So like, he tries to go, can we have a moment and talk about how John is able to do like weird magical shit sometimes? Nobody follows up on that. No. Like, everyone just kind of goes away.
Yeah.
But Bill's saying this to him, and John fucking takes out a knife and stabs himself in the stomach 3 fucking times.
Which I want to point out is not him getting murdered.
It's not. I don't like that either. Because also, what's the second murder?
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be when Hawaii, because like, he stabs himself 3 times. There's all this blood, but then Bill like lifts up his shirt, wipes the blood's away. There's no more wound, but he's got the knife, so he knows it's a real knife. And Bill's just I do like that Bill just walks out and he's like, he's yours. I'm out. Sorry, I'm done.
They didn't train me for this at the academy.
Yeah. But I like that kind of the response you should have in that moment,
100%,
right?
yeah.
But the response there is to just so Hawaii is going to go in and kill him.
I guess, yeah, be tough.
I mean, I would imagine he's going to go in and like torture him or whatever to get because they're still thinking he's got Sean some fucking place, right?
Yeah.
But then somebody gets a phone call. Oh, Sean's fine. He was with his mom at SeaWorld. And I don't know why though that Palaka has to go. Well, first off, Cash shows up with the camera, and Palaka's like, put the camera down, put the camera down. Fair warning, you're not leaving here with that fucking Kodak. Sorry, and he walks away. But when he finds out that the mom has Sean, he goes to the door to be like, hey, don't kill him. You know, Sean's fine or whatever. But instead of saying that, he's like, Western Union, telegram. The telegram has arrived safe. We know where the telegram is, Western Union. And like, just fucking, we all know what's happening. There's no strangers around. The only people here are everyone who knows what's happening in that room. So just knock on the door and be like, hey, don't kill him. Sean's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that seemed like a wild waste of time. Butchie's such a fucking asshole. He goes to see Sean's mom at like her hotel bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And they have like a little conversation, and she's basically like, how do I feel about, how would you feel if Sean wants me to stay, basically. Sean, has been asking if she's going to stay in Imperial Beach. And immediately he's like she's being nice. They're having a perfectly nice conversation. And immediately he's like, I'm supposed to care what dick you're taking? I wouldn't have time to eat. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it's also like 2 episodes ago when he was just like,
he had his meltdown.
Throwing that hard N-word.
Around.
Yeah. And it's just like, listen, if she's sleeping with anybody, she's getting paid for it. She's a professional. Right? She's not staying for
for
the dick.
Yeah, absolutely
she's
not.
staying for her son.
Yeah, and also like, you don't get to fucking care.
Yeah.
Junkie asshole who's not in her life. Yeah.
No, don't judge her. Don't judge her on her lifestyle that you have like no part of. And what are you going to do? Just buy more heroin to stock up and not do?
Yeah. You're bad at fucking the economics of...
You're bad at doing drugs.
You're a bad junkie, Butchie. There's also a scene where the gay guy has that scene in the hotel, right?
Yeah.
But then he's having his Mr. Cunningham moment. Oh, Mr. Cunningham, blah, blah, blah. Really, whatever. And then he's like, the voice says, and a Roy Rogers for my little friend here. And it's like, oh, somebody brought that child to the bar to fuck him? That's weird. But then he sees Sean at the bar, right? And then he sits down next to him, and they both have, like, Sean has a small Roy Rogers, and he has a tall Roy Rogers. What are we supposed to get out of that? Is Sean going to get molested too? Like,
I don't think so.
I hope not.
Sissy's not doing acid anymore.
Who knows? Oh, she's going to divorce.
Yeah.
She's kind of made up her mind to divorce Mitch.
Yeah, emotional abandonment.
She packs up all his shit and drops it off at the motel, and then like kicks the suitcase for way too long.
Yeah.
That's how she ends up at the hotel to see Dwayne, and runs into Dwayne. I also enjoyed Bill, made me laugh so hard, where he's like, I got to show you, they're going to show Bill the video message.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's on the computer. And Bill's like, I don't know how to work those things. And Dwayne's like, oh, I can show it to you. And he like goes to turn on he's like, I can turn on the computer for you. And he goes, outside? Like he's blown away by the concept of a laptop. Bill just does not get it.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
The power's inside.
Yeah. That made me laugh. The other thing Stephen Tobolowsky tries to get Willie Garson is basically like, hey, here's why you can sue the fucking doctor. It's like a pretty open and shut case. You're going to make a bunch of money. And basically says, like, if you want to throw me some money afterwards, I'm not going to argue with you or whatever. And Willie Garson's basically like, well, I could get disbarred. This is really unethical shit or whatever.
But his fiance would love if he did that, because his fiance seems like one of those people that really wants money.
Yeah, for sure. But she also did say, like, she says something like basically like I'm a ride or die or whatever. She's like, you didn't like you didn't get engaged to a like fair weather lady or whatever that she says. So that's kind of still happening. Stephen Tobolowsky's kind of just around in the background. But the main crux of this episode is that Sean will be gone soon.
And everyone's reacting to it in very strange, various ways. And they're all kind of like coming together. But no one really knows what him being gone means. Does it mean that he's going to be dead soon?
Right.
Does it mean...
Could he just be leaving? Like, he signs
the
with...
resurrection just comes and he just lifts off. Or, he gets signed and...
He does sign with Link in this episode.
Yeah, but then it's like, where's the state of the company now? What does this even mean?
That's what I don't understand, because he signs now. So is he signing with Luke Perry or is he signing with Stinkweed, which is like such a silly name for a business?
Yeah.
And then we see Sean can juggle. That's a weird little moment for no reason. But it looked like the actual actor was actually juggling and like pretty well. So I was like, that's why. So he can surf and juggle. That's why he got this fucking gig.
If he could surf and juggle at the same time, I wouldn't need to know if he was good at surfing. I'd be like, he must be good at surfing. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure. Bill in Hawaii are now like
closer.
Like they're friends now, but they're also sitting in their car. They're like doing a stakeout watching Sean's house because they still don't know what Sean will be gone to mean. They don't trust fucking John or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking Hawaii's real annoyed because Bill's got the bird in the back seat. And Bill's I like Bill too. He's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to miss out on telepathic messages because you don't like the chirping. And I'm like, so Bill, that's what I kind of enjoy is like, Bill is this like very fucking kind of square, meat and potatoes, like, straight ahead guy, but then also 100% believes he's getting telepathic messages from his bird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like, I don't know if the messages are coming directly from the bird or like bird conduit through the wife, but he's definitely like tapped into something spiritual to where like, he's like, I don't understand what I'm seeing, but I'm not going to question it either.
Yeah. So they're having a moment, then he and Kai have a little moment because Kai is basically like Kai shows up to sort of watch the house as well, even though because like she does in her heart, she only cares, like she cares about Sean, she's like taking care of Butchie, like she gives a fuck about these people, she's just tired of being yelled at by fucking Sissy.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. Also, you pay her $8 a fucking hour, I'd quit too.
Yeah.
So because she kind of quit, but what's weird is she doesn't quit to Sissy, she quits to the waitress at the coffee shop who is now a character. Like, she goes to her, she bitches about the thing, and then she leaves the keys. She's like, fuck it, tell her I quit or whatever. Why her? That's a weird, tenuous connection.
Yeah, I mean, like, Sissy and the waitress were having, like, coffee before, and she showed the waitress the paperwork from the hospital being like, what do you think, waitress?
Yeah.
She's like, this is boilerplate.
Yeah.
What did you do before this?
Yeah. Oh, also, what was it? Halo? The Halo effect?
The Halo effect.
Yeah, that somebody was getting mad about that because Dwayne said it and the lawyer said it, but in like different contexts.
Yeah.
And the waitress was like, that's what the fuck he said. Everybody really, like, this is very Deadwood. A lot of F-bombs. Even more so lately, it feels like. I think maybe it's because there's a lot of Sissy.
Well, if it's anything like me, when I don't know what to say, I will start swearing more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It fills in a lot of space.
So we are down to 2 last episodes.
Yes.
Do you think we're going to get any answers?
I think so.
Yeah. So here's what I feel like this has to be. This was at least a planned season finale, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like you got to give us something, even if you didn't know you weren't coming back.
Yeah, but it'll be one of those things where it's like one question's answered, but then
3 more questions.
3 more questions, and like we'll finally know what Sean leaving means. I presume is the one that they're building to, since that's what they're doing this whole episode. But yeah, I feel like, however it turns out, I will be left unsatisfied.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's for sure given. The other thing that does happen in this episode is Cass later on, like she's like going through a room, and then she finds the black like tarp that he was sitting in front of when he made the video with the symbol on it. But like and what I don't understand is she freaks out because like to her that's proof that she helped make this video. But wouldn't it also be proof that you found it on your computer? Like, what do you? You know what I mean? It seems like even more. I don't know why you needed that thing to be more proof for you. But she also slaps fucking John around a little bit. John got slapped around a little bit in this episode. It felt good.
Rightly so.
Anything you want to plug?
Ooh, I just want to, this isn't a show that I'm on, but it's something cool to go see. Slide in the DMs is having their 1-year anniversary show at Fallout the first Thursday of September.
Oh, tight.
And so there's going to be free pizza from Southside Flying Pizza and free beer provided by a local sponsor. So do come and check that out. It's going to be a great show.
Awesome. Definitely do that. You can come to the Sting. First, it's September 4th. At King Bee Lounge, my monthly show that I'm hosting. You can check us out on, I'm at Chris Cubis on all social media. You are?
At Twisted Middle Kid.
There you go. Well, if you like the show, rate, review, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter. You can either do at CancelPod or at Chris Cubis. Let me know what show we should do next, because we are wrapping up next week on John from Cincinnati. And we'll see you then. Later.
Bye.